What is the crack, YouTubers? Welcome to episode 8 of Two Bald Knobs. It is myself, Scarner, speaking.
And myself, 6+ Stevo.
What's the crack, Stevo? What have you been up to, man? Got any games in? Any hobby done? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've a little bit of both. I've got some hobby done, terrain-related hobby. I've been doing the unboxing, build and reviews of the Tabletop Scenics Orc terrain on the channel recently. Some really cool MDF kits that I've been playing around with. And yeah, got them all built up, reviewed, and I'm now in the process of painting. Well, I've started to paint them anyway. I've undercoated them at least.
Yeah, I've been watching a couple of those videos. Those MDF kits look sweet. They do look good. Have you had any problem painting them?
No, like I said, I undercoated them well. It was far from ideal weather conditions today. I mean, it was clear, but I don't think the cold weather is very good for rattle can use. But they seem to go okay. But being MDF, it took a few more coats, and because they're quite large pieces as well, I went through a couple of cans of black undercoat, just making sure they're really well primed. Luckily, though, I get my undercoat from the pound shop, so there wasn't much expense spared there. But yeah, no, they look good now, and just ready for dry brushing and ready for painting all the details. And it's weird. Terrain, I seem to really enjoy building and painting, and I seem to be able to motivate myself a lot more when it comes to terrain. I have no idea why that is, but when it comes to models, I'm not quite so motivated to crack on. I think it's the...
I thought it would have been the other way around. I thought you would have been traumatized assembling terrain at this stage, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think with terrain, I think I like it because I know that I can do some simple techniques, and it will look good. I can just, undercoat, dry brush, give a bit of inks, touch out some details and stuff. But with terrain, you don't have to be so detailed and careful as you do with miniatures. And I think you can get really effective, professional-looking results very easily. And I think that's probably what it is. The sort of it doesn't put so much of a strain on myself, and it's quite easy to quickly get the results and not get frustrated and stuff. Terrain, you can just sort of slap a dry brush over it for the most part anyway, and yeah, get something looking really good. With your models, you can't really do that.
Yeah, you can't really take the broad stroke approach that you can with terrain and for it to still look good. I get what you mean. It's more fiddly, more intricate. Like, you can go to town on terrain, but like, you don't really need to.
I think because I'm so close to completing, I mean, all my homemade, desert mountains and rocks and stuff that I've made and painted, they're all done. And I've got my PVC gaming mat. And so I'm just adding a few buildings to it now. So also knowing how close you are to a completed project spurs you on as well when you're that close to the finish line. And so I know I'm really close to having a fully painted, finished gaming board, ready for my grey army to play on, which is so backwards. I don't know of anyone else that's ever done it in that order before.
Yeah, but you get there in the end. Well, at least you're at the near the end of a project. I don't know what that feels like. I tend to be like, oh, I'll start this. And then, oh, I'll start this. And then 10 years later, I'll find that project I started again. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll start that again.
Yeah, that's very much me with my army. I came so close to finishing my killer cans, and then for some reason just stopped and started working on my kill team. And then I stopped doing that when I barely got any base coats on and moved on to something else. And the trouble is, if I buy something new, I want to build it, because building is like my favourite part of the hobby. I love building miniatures. So if I've got some sitting there painting, but I've got some sitting there ready to be built, it's the ones that need building will always win out for me. And again, it's just procrastinating, I guess, building and working on other things when I really should be cracking on painting what I've already got. But I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm guilty as charged myself. It's like I got all the new buggies and stuff, and I was like, oh, I had great fun assembling them, and I'm like, they're still in sub-assemblies, because that's the thing with the new buggies. You need to build them in sub-assemblies if you want to paint them properly.
That
which
can help motivate you to paint them, though. Actually, that could be a blessing in disguise. Because if a
well,
model's fully
yeah,
built, you know you can play with it anyway. You know,
get
depending
away with
where
it.
you are.
It's like 15 years
Um,
later, that truck is still unpainted, man.
exactly, and you know, so if a model is in sub-assemblies and it needs painting before you can finish it, and you really desperately want to use it in your list, that's going to help motivate you.
I think it just depends. It depends on the different people. Like one of the guys I play against quite regularly, he paints like every day, man. He's like I gave him two bomb squigs that I had like for 10 years or something, and they were unpainted. And I gave them to him, and literally 2 days later they were fully painted. I was like, oh, there you go.
I wish I could have that sort of dedication and what's the word I'm looking for? Self-motivation.
Discipline. I think discipline is probably a
Discipline,
large
yeah,
part of it.
discipline.
It's a
I'm
lack of
lacking in
discipline.
discipline.
Yeah, same here, man. Just the free spirit wandering from one unfinished project to the next. It's like, oh, yay! More to the unbuilt pile. But
I
anyway,
think most of our listeners will probably be empathising there. I think there's a lot of us that have that same attitude.
probably. That's what keeps GW afloat. You know what I mean? All those half-baked projects. All those new things that keep coming up.
But yeah, I mean that's what I've done recently, hobby-wise, gaming-wise. I did have another game, my second game with the new codex, and I travelled up to play Idic Beer and did a battle report for his channel. So I can't give away the result, unfortunately, because it's going to be up on his channel soon. So anyone that's not subscribed to that and wants to see me in a battle report with Idic, get over there and subscribe and hit that bell icon. But it was great fun. He was a really good host, and it was a really fun game actually.
He was a really good
Without
host,
giving...
and it was a really fun game. I don't know.
well,
That
like I said,
doesn't.
I'm not going to give away the result, but yeah, I can
It's
give
like
away
I'm
a small
reading.
bit that we played an interesting mission actually, which I've never played before, and we played with the open war cards, and yeah, they're really cool. I was really sold on them. Basically, you've got a deck of cards, and you got like 3 separate decks. One deck you select the mission, another one you select the deployment, and then you select another one which is a twist, which gives some special rules to that game. And so we played that, so I had no idea what mission we were going to play or where we were setting up or anything. And it was, yeah, it made for a very fun, interesting and different game. And yeah, it's made me want to buy myself a pack now, actually, because it's a good way to keep the game interesting. I really enjoyed it, actually.
I think I have that deck. And last time I was at one of the orc meets I go to, we did something like that where I just dished out random cards for people, and that they could then play various scenarios as you're saying, because you're just drawing what deployment type, and so you're going to get a different deployment type in a different mission, or even if you get the same mission, you're going to get a different combination of deployment and whatever else.
Oh,
You know yourself.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the twists really change the game. They can really, you know, change the game quite drastically. It's just a good way, especially if you're playing like the same opponent regularly. A lot of us have like 1 or 2 people that we play with regularly, and we might be playing against the same army over and over again. And so it can be quite hard sometimes to keep the game fresh and stop it getting stale. And I think things like that are really good because it just completely randomizes things and can turn the game on its head and completely change your tactics and force you to play in a different way. Yeah, I was really impressed with them. But yeah, that's what I've been up to anyway. What about you?
Oh, I've been playing like a mad scown. I think I've gotten 4 battles in since the codex came out. Now that's probably not a lot for some of the listeners out
It's
there, but
more,
for me,
it's more than me.
Jesus. Yeah, I've played 4 games so far. I haven't won any, but you know I'm persevering. I'll get there. I'm just trying to. So I think my problem was I didn't play many games with the index. I think I played 2 games with the index, so I got a bit out of practice, and I'm just trying to hash out a list uh, that I'm comfortable with that sort of suits my tactics. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's been fun. I played orcs twice to start off with. I played against a speed freak list, and they're interesting. It was fun to see some of the new
I
buggies that.
bet that was a tough game.
Yeah, they were fun though. It was like I haven't had a game that I didn't enjoy. Like I've come across my the opponents I've had that I've played. Like they're all from. I know them through the local gaming club, the Dublin Gamers Guild is what it's called. And yeah, I had fun. So I played orcs twice. I played Tau. last Wednesday. There's like a Tau line, and he's like sitting in the corner, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell? Shield drones." I
Oh,
learned about
Tau.
them the hard way.
I have bad memories from playing Tau back in the day.
It's
Yeah.
they're big giant robots. They don't count as vehicles. So when I deep struck the unit of tank busters in and I unleashed hell, it was like, oh, you're not vehicles, so I don't get to reroll me dice. I only get to reroll me ones. I was like, oh no. And then there were shield
Ouch.
rounds. So yeah, that one trick pony got nipped in the bud. And then I
Did
played
I, did
against.
I, did I, sorry to interrupt, but did I hear you correctly then? Did you say re-rolling ones? Are you telling
Yeah, I
me you
brought bad
used
moons for
bad
Daka.
moons?
I've started. Yeah, that's another thing I've changed. I don't. I was
He's on the
originally
turn, he's on the turn.
I was originally only using one detachment, but then you're not going to. What's the big one that gives you like 12 or something like that? The I forget the name of them off the top. There's a
Brigade
brigade and
detachment.
then there's the battalion. So I've started
That's
using
right.
2 battalions because I'm finding that I think to get the most out of the Orc Codex, you need to use at least 2 clans in synergy with each other. So what I've been doing is I've been using Bad Moon fire support, so like looters and stuff, using them for fire support, and then I've been trying out the Evil Sons as well because they get their +1 to their movement and their charge. So you want to get stuck in as soon as possible. So I'm using a combination of like fire support for the foot troops as they come in, and then like I think I want to go back to me commandos though because I find me Blood Axe commandos are handy for grabbing objectives because what I'm finding is that some objectives in the enemy's backline, like because defend objective cards are a pain in the ass, man. Like secure objective cards are fine. Defend objective cards, it's like, oh Jesus, where is it? It's in your deployment. Oh, of course it is, of course. So
And when the vast majority of your army is 6+ t-shirt saves, it's you don't want to be drawing those defend the objective cards.
yeah, you're trying to get out there. I've been using grots though. I've been using a lot. I think I brought like 60 grots in my last list when I was playing against knights. But I got torn charge or I got charged turn one. I'm still flabbergasted. I got charged turn one by a close combat knight, which was interesting. It's like yeah, it was different. It was fun though.
You say interesting, I would have said terrifying.
um yeah and no. Like I told my friend to like play to go as hard as he can with the knights. That way I'd expect, you know what I mean? I'd rather have the worst list with knights thrown at me, so then I have a proper gauge of how knights could be played in their worst sort of format. You know what I mean? Because he's telling me it depends on what house he uses his knights for, because some of the houses are better than others. And he was like, well, I was like, I want you to go balls to the walls with this one. I was like, just go as hard as you can with it, so I can then gauge what knights are capable of. And then
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so he
yeah.
used a house where their stats don't drop. They count as double, so they're a lot harder. But I killed 2 of the knights. Yeah, I killed a knight turn one, turn two, but I got mauled in the process. But it was hilarious. It was good crack. You know what I mean?
And that is, without sounding too corny and cliched, that is the most important thing in it, that you have fun. Especially if you haven't played, if you like said, if you haven't only played a couple of games with the index and it's been a while since you played, I think sometimes that break does you good, because then when you are playing, all you care about is that you're playing again. It just feels good to play again, doesn't it? And have some fun rolling some dice.
Yeah, it's just trying to come back with a fresh perspective and trying to. You have to sort of treat each codex as a new beast of its own. You know what I mean? And trying to find
Definitely.
the nooks and crannies in it. Like obviously, there's going to be some commonality between the different codexes, and I suppose that's a perspective you'll be able to build up as a veteran player, who stuck with the faction over the years. You'll see various changes and how things were slightly different in other codexes and the other ones, and how things have gotten better in some regards and not so good in other regards. But you know, it is what it is. Like I said, it's the beast that we have. But I've specifically restricted myself. I'm only taking stuff that's in the codex. I'm not taking stuff that's in the index because I expect it to probably be gone by the end of whenever the Gene Stealer cultists come out. We won't really need use indexes. You know what I mean? They will be phased out eventually. We were told that when they came out. They're only a temporary measure. So no mega
Yeah, I
armored
think
robots for me.
I've still been using a couple of the index choices, but that's purely out of necessity more than anything. I've got some more models come in. I'm making new sort of character, independent character models that will replace my big mechs with KFFs and things like that. And so I'll be much like you. I'll pretty much phase the index out completely. Just get used to the idea before they do it officially. But it is handy still having it there as an option currently, and who knows if there is enough demand, maybe we'll get some of this stuff back in a future campaign book or an expansion of some kind, or chapter approved or something. You never know. We may get our mega armored war bosses and KFF big mechs back. If we do, we'll probably get them back for open play only, knowing GW.
Oh yeah, the chapter approved with the little wagon. Well, there's a lot of points drops in chapter approved, none for the orcs. So I don't know.
No, I think we just timing for us was bad. We've just had our codex released, so I think that probably would have raised a few eyebrows if it had been out for a week or two and then all the points changed in it.
Well, I don't know. They're bringing back formations now, so we have like stomper mobs and stuff like that. So I've been on orc forums. There's quite a few orc players disgruntled at why that type of stuff is being put in the Vigilist book so close to the codex. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think the cynical part of my brain would say it's to help sell a few copies of the Vigilist book, but
I don't know. It's a campaign book. I'm a sucker for campaigns. Like I always buy the City Fight books and Planet Strike and Escalation.
It does sound interesting as well. I love the sound of the Dread War and things, so I really do want to. I'm quite curious about that. I want to look into that a bit more, and it's certainly for my army that is sort of heading the way of a Dread mob. It sounds quite tempting, actually. I'll have to read into it further.
But I've been looking into it. It looks interesting. Yeah. But probably to the core of our podcast for this evening, questions and answers.
Yes, we've been promising this since episode 1?
Episode 1, I think. I think since episode 1, we've been holding this one off for quite a long time. Put on the long finger.
The good news about holding it off for so long is that we have gathered quite a few questions, and some of these questions were asked so long ago that the people who asked them probably forgot they asked them. But yeah, we do have a nice collection of questions from you guys for us to answer. Shall I kick off with the first one?
Yeah, crack on, mate. Crack on.
Okay, well, we've got one here from Big Mech Dan Skull. He asked this through our Facebook group, I believe. And he asks, should small models, e.g. Gretchen, have rules connected to their diminutive stature? Some examples could be a rule that enables them to put twice as many in a transport, or a hard-to-hit rule, -1, even when out in the open. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting. Hard to hit. I don't know, because if you were to do like hard to hit rules for grots, then you'd have people with swarms bitching at you. You know what I mean? It's like there's no winning. I don't know. I think the grot rules are okay, like because they get bonuses to hit if there's a lot of them, and then they're pretty much just shields. They're pretty much just cannon fodder. That grot shield stratagem. I think grots are fine the way they are. Maybe they could be cheaper, but they're the same cost as a guardsman.
I don't know how many points a guardsman is. Grots are 3 points a pop, so I imagine guardsmen are probably around that level, 3 or 4 points. I imagine. I know that wasn't it the conscripts they used to have that were like 2 points a pop or something.
Or cheap. But yeah, diminutive rules, like I don't really see putting grots in a trap. I suppose you could do it. You could, yeah.
Because if you were using them for objective grabbers and things. I mean,
hard to hit.
I don't know. Hard to hit would probably, if you give them too many special rules that makes them too good, they're gonna have to get a points increase, and then they're just not gonna be worth it. And the reason they cost 3 points is because they are generally crap, and that is, well, if you start making them good, they stop being a cheap unit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess some sort of rule like. Increased cover saves because they would represent their cowardice as well if they were in ruins and stuff.
Bits and pieces, yeah,
they'd be masters at hiding and things,
or digging holes in plain sight and trying to hide.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess some sort of rules like that would be quite good. It would certainly make them great objective grabbers. Then grabbing objectives on terrain and then going to ground and. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be against it because anything that makes my army better, I'm all for. But it's probably just the sensible part of my brain is probably saying no. Grots are fine as they are. Although I would like to use some stratagems with some of my grot units.
Yeah, not getting
This
the
is going
clan
slightly
stratagems. Oh.
Yeah, slightly off topic, but I'd love to be able to use some stratagems for my cans and met guns and things. That would be nice.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I think they're all right the way they are, but we'd like to be able to use stratagems.
Our next question comes from David Jordan, also from the Facebook group, and he has asked us, what is the slowest colour?
I will assume it's purple, because I never see gits in purple. So they must be the slowest.
Purple, I know purple is the sneaky colour. That's because
yeah, you can't see them.
Apparently, yeah, orcs don't see purple very well, so they see purple as their sneaky colour. So I think things like commandos and stuff quite often use purple. I think red ones go faster. We know that. Blue is lucky. Yellow makes the loudest bangs or the biggest explosions, I believe.
Super flash. Super flash.
Yeah. So I don't know. The slowest colour. What would orc see as a slow colour?
I'm going to stick with purple because we never see them. So we don't know if they're fast or slow. I'll just assume they're slow.
Maybe they're so fast you can't see them. See?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be saying that to the old speed freaks now. They'd be bleeding.
I don't know. Maybe they would probably choose something like I think my orcs would say a bone colour, like the Deathwing Terminators, because they're pretty slow. So they'd probably see that bone armoured colour. Yeah. Like a beige bone. That's my answer for the slowest colour. That was a strange question, but cool.
I'm sure there'll be stranger.
Yes, I think there will. I've got another one here from Morton Sando, also from our Facebook group. By the way, people, we'll put a link in the description, actually, for our Facebook group. Anyone listening to this that wants to come and join in, you can see videos we both, produce and get involved. We'll pop that link in the description. But onto the question. Morton Sando asks, if you could have a cyborg body part to replace your own, what would you replace and with what? Now, careful of your answer here.
My answers are all above board. Dare you, sir? How dare you?
Not some sort of pneumatic piston-driven.
Here now. Don't be dragging us down to your level.
Because if it was orc cybernetics, it would be like petrol powered or like running off diesel or something. You'd need a generator connected to you at all times.
I don't know. If you had a bionic part, probably an arm or something, just so you could knock people out who annoy you.
Hell yeah. I think I'd go the same thing. I mean, I screwed up my hand cutting it up, so I was very close to needing some sort of cybernetics anyway. So I'd probably just go for the good old-fashioned power claw.
Yeah.
It'd be handy, if you lost your tin opener at home, you need to get in that can of beans, no problem.
Well, you have to think practically now. It's like, well, if you replaced one of your hands or your arms with a power claw, it's like, everyday things like trying to flush the toilet, you know what I mean? Trying to open the car door.
It's like, you still got your other hand.
You still got your other hand. Well, like, if you're trying to, hold the kid under the arm, that isn't the power claw, obviously. And then you're left with the power claw arm trying to open the door. And then Mrs. is like, why is there a hole in the car door? Well,
Love, it's happened again. Yeah, there's quite a few. The more I think about it, actually, the more activities I can think of that would be quite dangerous with a power claw.
And we've seen how bad you are with a knife, so letting you loose with a power claw, yeah.
We're all right, we're human, so it probably wouldn't work anyway, because we wouldn't have that.
See headlines in the UK now. Local man terrorizes area, flagging down taxi.
We got another question from the same person, Morton Sando. What colours are your cars, if you have any? Yeah, I have a car. My car is black. I've got a MG ZS. Yeah, that's what I've got. I like black cars. My last car was black as well. I had a Ford Focus before that. That was black. It's a pain in the arse to wash. Literally one day after washing it, it looks dirty again. But
Dust.
for that one day when it's cleaned and polished,
It looks amazing.
Mwah, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm the same myself. I have like a metallic black. I just have a Skoda Fabia because I don't need to compensate for anything.
Ouch.
Yeah, I just have a black car.
Mine's a 2.5 beast, so yeah.
Well, you see, man, now if you're in Ireland, you'd be paying an arm and a leg for fucking insurance and tax. You know what I mean?
Oh, I am anyway.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, it's not cheap. Luckily, I've got a lot of no claims bonus and stuff, so I've been driving for more years than I care to remember. So my insurance isn't too bad, but if I had a more sensible car, put it this way, it'd be a lot cheaper, probably about half the price.
Probably. So that's that one. We both have black cars. There you go.
There you go. Black like our hearts. We got a question here from David Jordan. If you were a war boss, what would you name yourself? Good question.
I'm already named after my war boss. I'm scared of. That's my
Oh,
Yorkie
well, there
name.
you go. You got an easy answer. I'm not going to have a war boss called 6 Plus Stevo. It doesn't sound too.
It doesn't
menacing.
quite. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
No. Well, I don't know. If I was a war boss, well, I'd be a Bad Moon war boss, and I'd have all the bling and all the best gear.
You call you Sovereign Stevo then.
Yeah.
The blinging is like, war boss this side of the galaxy, you know.
Guzgob the shiny flash git or something. I don't know. Something
Guzgob shiny finger, something like that. Yeah.
Shiny finger.
There you go.
Sort of like the orc version of Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
There you go. Guzgob shiny finger. Better hope it doesn't point it at you.
Oh, God.
Another question from the same guy, David Jordan. If you had infinite money only used for making an orc army, what would you buy and why? Good question. I'm gonna adapt that slightly. Let's say infinite money and time, because time is a big factor in that. It's not always just money, but yeah, infinite resources to make your ideal orc army. What would it be?
My ideal orc army?
You've probably already got it.
I was about to say, I pretty much own every miniature they currently produce. If I had infinite money, I'd probably go mad buying some of the really old school rare stuff. Like the Armor Cast Gargant, the Armor Cast Stompa, the really old school Armor Cast drop pods, which are basically like crashed bean tins with fins and stuff. I go for the old school stuff. I pretty much have everything else currently that I want. Oh, hold on. If you had infinite money, you know you'd want to loot a Warlord Titan. Let's be realistic here.
Oh, right. I think if you had infinite money, you could just... Yeah, no, I know. If I had infinite money, I would get on the telephone to... or I'd take my helicopter down to GW, and I would ask them to build me a one-of-a-kind Gargant model in plastic for me, and no expense spared. How much does it cost? I'll buy the machinery needed, the press, the full lot. But no, in a more serious answer, I would probably buy myself a lot of Squigoths, and I think the Squigoths are an awesome model, and I would like to have a few of them in an army, and have a big Squigoth stampede. That would be a cool army. An army built around Squigoths. That would probably be what I'd go for.
They're cool. They're cool miniatures, I'll say that much.
That was a really cool question, actually. And we've got another one from the same person. This is his third question. If you could ask for the return of any orc unit or character, which would it be?
Custom Battle Fortress.
Good answer. He goes on a bit further to say if you could introduce an entirely new orc unit or character, what would it be? Okay, we'll come to that one afterwards. So what was your answer to what would
Custom
you bring back?
Battle Fortress.
Hell yeah, I second that.
We have rules for it in open play, but we don't have match play rules.
Sorry, I just gagged a bit when you said that word.
Okay, we'll try that again then. I'd bring back the Custom Battle Fortress. We have open play rules for it, but we don't have match play rules.
I did it again, man. Every time you say open play, I gag. I just know what it is. I love the way you thought you were going to have to edit that bit out then.
I was like, when you said you weren't, you're a bit under the weather, I was like, oh, maybe his stomach's on a tour, the poor chap. And it's like, open play. Yeah, custom Battle Fortress. Just bring it back into production, man. It's an awesome thing.
Yeah, I second that. But for me personally, Nazdreg, I would love to have him back, updated, a new model of him back. That would be
updated.
I would love to have a badass, named character for my Bad Moons, and you can't get any bigger and badder than Nazdreg. So yeah, but I would second what you said as well, definitely. And the Skull Hammer, was it? The Bane Blade, looted Bane Blade.
Skull Hammer Battle Fortress. We had the custom Battle Fortress.
And looted wagons, for fuck's sake, looted wagons.
Oh Jesus, proper looted wagons.
Well, since the Codex, there's lots of things I'd like to have back. KFF, Big Mechs, War Bosses in Mega Armor. The list could go on.
Big guns.
And it's the second part of his questions. It's two questions in one. If you could introduce an entirely new Orc unit or character, what would it be and what would they do?
Shock attack gun stomper. Fires battle wagons at the enemies. There you go.
Fires battle wagons at the enemies.
Yeah, think about it. Shock attack gun stomper, sucks up a battle wagon, shoots at the enemy, hits them, rams them, and then the boys jump out. There you go. Sorted.
Yeah, that's yeah. You're going big with that. Well, I'm going the complete opposite end of the spectrum. For me, a new Orc unit would be Grot Snipers. I've wanted them in for a long time now, and I think, going back to Big Mech's question earlier, saying about sort of Grot special rules, I think a nice Grot Sniper unit that had some nice special rules for like increased cover saves and proper sneaky gits, that are Grot Snipers for me.
They could definitely
character-wise.
Yeah, they could definitely do a lot. Well, go on, character-wise. Go on.
A completely new character. I don't know. I don't know if this quite counts as an answer, but it's going to be my answer. I would just like every clan to be represented by some form of named character. Like if you look through the Space Marine Codex, and that covers quite a few different chapters in the vanilla codex, but there is pretty much a named character for all the established chapters. I would love if Orcs had the same thing, because some of the clans, we don't get them. Goths have got a choice of a couple, and there's a few out there for the other clans, but Bad Moons currently have none, which is a real shame. So yeah, a character for every clan.
That'd be good, yeah, definitely. Next question.
So yeah, that was some great questions there, David Jordan. Enjoyed all of those. We've got a question here from Marcos Castellanos. I think I said that right. What model do you wish you purchased when you had the chance? Mine is the Red Gobbo. That wasn't my answer, by the way. That was his answer to his own question.
Oh, his was the Red Gobbo, was it?
Yeah, that's a good answer though. Red Gobbo is a cool model.
Yeah, well, I have one, but yeah, it's a cool model.
I think for me,
go on. I'll have a think. I'll have a think. I'm thinking here.
For me, one I wished. There's one model I did wish I bought when it was out at standard price, because it's now very rare and very expensive. And it's the Big Mech with custom Mega Blaster. They had the Big Mech with KFF, but they had another one that was armed with a custom Mega Blaster, and he was just a standard Big Mech. But he just looked very cool. As soon as I saw the model, I was like, that is a cool model. I think he's got like a cigar hanging out his gob, or a bolt hanging out his gob, and he's got like a
goggles,
blowtorching mask visor sort of thing. Yeah, the goggles up, and he's just holding it, and he just screamed cool to me. And although I wouldn't be able to use him now, I would still love to have that model. And when I look on eBay, he's going for about £40 now. He's not cheap at all, because I don't think he was very popular because he didn't have the KFF, but I would love to have had him and just converted a custom force field onto his back because he was just badass looking. So that's my answer anyway. Have you been able to think one up?
Yeah, I think I saw like an armor cast armor cast Gargant on eBay many years ago for stupid money, and part of me wishes I bought it. Like, I like the old armor cast Gargants because they did actually make Orc Gargants for us at one stage, but it was many years ago, back in the second edition days, I think it was.
A Gargant would be very, very cool to see. It'd be amazing for them to Forge World to make one now and see what they could do with the details and stuff they can put them now. But I think you probably need to explain to probably some of our younger audience who Armorcast were, actually. There's a lot of our younger viewers.
Were the predecessors of Forge World. So before there was a Forge World, Games Workshop used to outsource the making of like Phantom Titans and Warhound Titans and stuff like that. They used to outsource to a company called Armorcast, who made stuff out of resin. So that's what you'll see. Like, if you see some of the old school stuff, it's in this sort of creamy resin color. You'll see like I had an Eldar Phantom Titan at one stage that was Armorcast, but I sold it on. You'll see it's like this creamy sort of resin color if it's not painted. It's a very cream sort of color. So yeah, that was back in the Armorcast days. So if you ever see like old school Armorcast Warhound Titans, they look a bit funky, but they're still Warhound Titans, like, you know what I mean? I think
they're a bit more. They're more simple than sort of today's standards, aren't they? They're not quite so detailed and stuff, but they're
different.
They still look good though.
They look interesting. They have a unique style to them. They're not the same style as the ones that you'll get nowadays. Obviously, they're a lot smoother in detail.
I kind of liked about them is that they were literally sort of the epic scale models, scaled right up to 40k size, and they were sort of almost sort of a mirror image of those ones. They made a lot of Elder stuff, didn't they, back in the day?
Yeah, and some Tyrannid stuff as well. There's a few bits and pieces if you go looking for them on eBay, but sometimes they go for stupid money depending on what it was.
Yeah, highly collectible these days. Bit of 40k history there.
Bit of nostalgia. Next question.
We've got another one here, also from Marcos Castellanos.
Jesus, he's been busy, this chap.
He has. He's asking some good questions, though. He's asked one here of us. Bad Moons and Blood Axes are both of your favourite clans. With the new Codex rules, what would be your second choice if you decided to take another clan detachment in your army? Well, you've already answered this at the beginning of this podcast, haven't you, really, I guess?
Yeah, I've been messing around with Evil Sons and Bad Moons at the moment, but I might mix it up, yeah.
Second favourite clan for use in another detachment. Well, currently I've only used Bad Moons, and even if I've taken multiple detachments, I've just been leading a pure Bad Moon army. I don't know, it's a tough one because my second favourite clan is probably the weakest one in the Codex, and that would be Snakebites. So I don't know. I guess just for pure fluff, I'd go Snakebites. For competitive reasons, if I was to do it, which I'm probably not likely to, but if I was, would probably go for Goths or Evil Sons to
sort of boys.
I'd make the sort of I'd split my force much like you've done with sort of combat orientated units and then shooty units with the Bad Moons. So there's been times in my recent games where I've been in combat and stuff, and I've rolled those dice to hit, and a lot of sixes have come up, and I thought, it would have been damn good to be Goths right now. Get them exploding sixes in combat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I might try Goths out, big mobs of Goths. Yeah, because the Evil Sons help getting the charge in, but it'd be interesting to try Goths out. There is some decent synergy in the Codex. I suggest you try that yourself.
Now I've said it, although I've said sort of Snakebites are probably the weakest clan in the Codex, they've certainly got some units that benefit greatly. I mean, they've got their, I think their exclusive stratagem where they've got the Monster Hunters stratagem, which would be really good for tank busters. That way they'd be re-rolling their hits and their wounds. So I think Snakebite tank busters are one of the best units in the codex, I think, actually, because a lot of the time you're going to be wounded on 4s. So you might get all those hits in, but then you might roll badly on the wounds. So being able to re-roll hits and wounds is, with Daka would be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
Good question there, though. We've got our next one from Fujimoto. One more. Okay, so he's asked another question. I'm working these questions backwards. So he's got the Orc FAQ says that embarked units don't count in the power level for teleporter. So battle wagon open topped with 10 mega Nobz strike in and beat ass, right? Yes, I guess they would beat ass. A battle wagon open topped with 10 mega Nobz in. Yeah, I think a battle wagon if it's open topped with any kind of shooty unit teleporting in is going to be quite nice, actually.
Yeah, I'd say shooty unit because you can't get out of your transport because the battle wagon comes down at the end of your movement phase.
Correct.
You can't get out of the transport to assault stuff. So you're better off putting a shooty unit in it. And if I was doing a purely shooty unit, I'd either go flash kits if I'm going to be shooting at troops, or I'd go like 15 tank busters and 5 bomb squigs.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that would be evil. I think for me, Mega Nobz would be quite usable because if I had 10 Mega Nobz in there and they were all armed with combi rockets for bad moons, they'd be re-rolling their 1s for shooting. The trouble is with Mega Nobz in a transport is if that transport is destroyed and you roll a few 1s when making your emergency disembark, you're losing 3 wound Mega Nobz with the roll of 1 dice, and that can be very painful indeed. I mean, it would certainly divert the opponent's attention. They'd want that thing killed off pretty quick before those Mega Nobz had a chance to get out. So yeah, that's going to be an expensive unit, though, isn't it? That's definitely putting all your eggs in one basket.
You couldn't even make a Borny bus, because Bornas are 8 inches, so you couldn't deep strike down with a full unit of Bornas inside and Borna something. Oh.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking about it, that's the trouble with flamer weapons now. You don't always get the chance to use them, do you? When they work, they're really good, but moving on to our next question. It's another one from Marcos Castellanos, and at some point, if he keeps asking questions, I might get his name
right. Yeah.
But he asks, what faction in 40k do you least want to fight against with your orcs? Good question. Well, you've had a bit of experience fighting a few different factions now. Is there any faction you particularly fear? Tau. Yeah.
Well, it's not that I fear, it's just there's different ways to play the game. I suppose, like castling up. I actually enjoyed the fight against the knights because he got stuck in my face, and I was just it was amusing. So like I said, I got turn 1 charged by a knight, and then it was right beside like most of my Daka units, so like my tank busters and my looters and stuff, and they just all turned around, looked at him, and just went
delete.
Yeah, but Tail with their shield drones and their fucking Overwatch and all that type of sitting in the corner being pansies. I tell you, yeah, Tail. I see where the Tail hatred comes from. Guy I played against was lovely.
I will second that. I will second that. I'll give the same answer, Tau. I haven't played Tau in many years, not since 5th edition have I played Tau, but
they've changed.
The memories still haunt me to this day.
They've changed a lot since 5th, my friend.
Yeah, I remember them back in 5th doing the jump, shoot, jump mechanic. Battle suits hiding behind buildings, jump out, shoot at you, and then jump back, all during their turns. So they could shoot at you, but you couldn't shoot at them. Very frustrating. That was when I was playing my Necrons as well, and my Necrons were used to out-shooting most armies, but when it came to Tau, had to change my tactics quite drastically because, well, Tau can outshoot anything, can't they? they've got some devastating firepower. So, yeah, I've not played them in recent years, but I imagine they're still quite frustrating to play against. My old memories of them is I never had a close game with Tau. It was never a close game. I either annihilated them in combat or I never got to combat. And so it was either I got decimated or I decimated them. There was never a close game with Tau. It was always swung one way or the other. But yeah, definitely my most feared army, definitely. We've got a great question here from Peninsula Painting Projects, and he has asked us, what TV series do you both watch? So I'll let you go with this one first.
I don't actually watch TV. I watch like YouTube, and then I watch Netflix. So I'd say the latest TV style series I've been watching Narcos season 3 on Netflix, which is pretty cool. It's about the Mexican cartels back in the day.
Oh, cool! I've heard of that. I've not seen it myself.
That's really good. Yeah, if you like the likes of Breaking Bad and stuff like that, then you'll like this one. Narcos.
As you know what? I haven't seen that either.
Oh Jesus, man! Have you been living under a rock?
I've heard very good things.
Right, go on. What about yourself?
Yeah, much like yourself, I don't actually watch a lot of TV now. My television is taken up by my 2-year-old, who watches a program called Baby TV, or a channel, should I say, called Baby TV, and the Peppa Pig channel. So my television is usually singing nursery rhymes or showing the daily struggles of Peppa Pig. And so I get most of my entertainment from my phone, watching, like you say, YouTube. Watch a lot of other YouTube channels. So I watch things like all the other wargaming channels. I have a bit of an interest in old retro games as well, so I like watching sort of things like Angry Video Game Nerd and stuff as well. I like watching some of the channels that cover computer games from the past and nostalgia channels and stuff. TV series though, Game of Thrones is a big one. Love that. Can't wait for the next series of that. Walking Dead is another one I really enjoy. And I love things like Simpsons and Futurama and Rick and Morty. That is a big favourite of mine. I love Rick and Morty. For anyone that hasn't watched that yet, if you like your sci-fi stuff and you want to poke fun at it and stuff, that you can't go wrong with that. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I end up watching a lot of the TV that my missus likes as well. You know, reality TV programs and things that I'm not necessarily into myself, but you find yourself getting drawn into them.
If it's on, it gets watched. Yeah. It's like...
Oh, and WWE. I love.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of wrestling.
Your forced passion in life.
Yeah, I do like my WWE, so I watch a bit of Raw and SmackDown here and there, and pay-per-views and stuff. But yeah, much like yourself though, YouTube and Netflix and stuff. Watch a lot of movies. But that was a good question. Nice to have a question not Orc related. I'm moving on to the next bit now, and I won't ask all these questions because formed into one question, Morton Sando has asked us about 20. So I'll pick a couple out of this one. How many grots does it take to change a light bulb? Well, it depends how hard you hit them, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, get the boot in there. Never enough. Yeah, the kids are always running away and thieving stuff.
Make sure you got a squig hound gnashing nearby. They'll get that light bulb screwed in pretty bloody quick, I'd wager. How much loot must a looter loot if a looter would loot?
As much as you can carry or get away with it.
Yep.
Yeah, as much as you can get away with it,
yeah. He's asked the same question as someone else already asked. We answered earlier, asking if we could invent a new orc unit. So we've already answered that. Do you ever want to talk in an orky way with your spouse/significant other? My missus would probably say I already do. So that's my answer for that. Moving on. We got a question here from Anders Eriksson, and he says, want to see an army with nothing but squig hoppers and grots. Do you, as I hope, for monster squig hoppers as the one that's for is a little bit lost in translation here, but he's basically asking if we would like to see the squig hoppers and the giant squig monsters from Age of Sigmar in 40k.
I'm sure somebody's probably kit bashed something like that to proxy something else. You know what I mean? Like you'll see the boar riders from AOS being used as bikers and stuff. So, you know, I'm sure somebody's probably done it out there if you go looking for it.
Yeah, once he asked this question, I immediately thought up some cool ideas. I know the the monster squig thing he's talking about. I think it's the one that Forge World produced. And it looks
Gobbet or something. It's spitting squigs.
Yeah, well, there's that one as well. Like the sort of there's that one, but there's another one that's just a big running squig, and it's just a big. It looks about dreadnought sized, and just from him asking this, it sort of gave me the idea of if I was to do a snakebite army, I would love to proxy some of those big squigs and use them as death dreads, armed with close combat weapons. I think that would be quite cool. And you could even, the one that you've just listed, the squig that's gobbing out, I think, other squigs, would be great to use as a snakebite mech gun, actually. So feel free, anyone listening, to steal that idea for your snakebite army if you want to make
spend
some
a
cool
small fortune building it.
Yeah, probably going to be a bit more expensive than a GW Death Dread, but would turn some heads in gaming clubs for sure. But yes, short answer, yes, I would love to see more squigs in 40k. We don't have a lot of squigs, do we? They're quite hard to come by.
We got a couple in with the Rocket Truck squig buggy, but most of them are sort of molded into it. I think there's only a couple that are loose.
Yeah, we've got the one that comes with the attack squig that comes with Gruck Face Ripper, and we've got
or whatever his name is now.
Yeah. So more squigs would be good. More plastic squigs. We don't really have much access to them. Not like the old days when they used to come in the lead ones that used to come in the blister packs. I think you've got some questions to ask of you. I've got one here, but I think we wanted to save that one for last because it's quite a good one.
Yeah, I have a couple here. I went over, and there's a couple I looked at. Well, another squig related one from Snarky McSnarkface back in episode 3. Yeah, squig juice or grot juice, which is better for my orcish figure? Probably squig juice, mate.
Grot juice.
Probably squig juice. God knows where those grots have been. Probably swimming in the drops. Once you squigs tend to swim in the drops as well, so a bit of, you know, bit of column A,
squigs. I think squig juice has got a higher vitamin content and stuff.
To squeeze every drop out of it.
Yeah. Grot juice is more fun to make though. They scream louder when you make juice out of them, so they're a bit more fun.
Nice crunchy sounds.
Grot juice for parties, but squig juice for your morning juice. I think that would be
your morning pick me up.
Yeah.
We have another one here from Big Mick Dansko, episode 4. What is your hair care routine?
That's the one I've got as well. That's what I was going to say for last. But yeah, that's a great question. I think he's taking the piss. With the show called Two Bald Knobs asking about our hair care routine. For those of you that don't know, listening as well, Big Mech Danskull is also just as bald as we are, although much like ourselves, not in the face department, more hair on the face than on the head. So yeah, my hair care routine is, I wash it. I wash the stubble. That's it.
It gets washed like the rest of it.
Yeah.
The head gets shaved every now and then, and that's about it.
Because even if you do have your head shaved right close to the skin, you've still got to wash. You still got to. Although you can still get dandruff and have you don't want a greasy head. So yeah. Back in the day though, when I did have hair, good old days. I used to prune myself in front of the mirror and slap loads of gel all over it. It's probably part of the reason why I'm bald now. Using too much products on my hair and tightening myself up.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, stop. When I was like 15 or 16, I had long hair like down past my shoulders. You know, I don't miss long hair.
Blimey.
I know. I'll have to dig out a photo somewhere to show you one of these days. But yeah, no
Well,
shampoo
although he
and
does say
conditioner.
he does say like, "What's your hair care routine?" He doesn't actually specify on the head,
When
but
on the hair. Oh, here we go. The beard. I just use face wash. Whatever face wash I
yeah.
use. Maybe a bit
Well, I
of
mean,
beard
yeah,
oil if I'm
he
feeling
could be
fruity.
talking about the beard. He could be talking about
Ah, here
everything.
we go.
You know, back sack and crack. There you go.
It's all clean. That's all you
So
need to know. It's all squeaky clean.
I've got another question here from Idic Beer actually, and he messaged me with a question, and he said, "What was it like playing one of your YouTube heroes?" Um, so yeah, that's obviously in relation to the game I've just had with him. He is one of my YouTube heroes actually. He's one guy that sort of spurred me and started doing the channel. And my answer to that was it was great fun. I had a really, really fun game, but I've got to be very careful not to give away the result because I've been sworn to secrecy. But regardless of win, lose, or draw, it was great, great fun. So how about you? Have you managed to play any of your YouTube heroes?
I don't think I've played a game against anyone on YouTube. They'll have to organise a game and get that sorted eventually.
Well, I know yourself and myself are planning a game probably for next year, so then you'll be able to answer that question.
I
And
will. I'll give you a
you'll have
detailed
played one of
report.
your heroes then, so yeah,
Well,
then you'll
I'll
be
tell you then.
you'll be well equipped to answer the question.
I have
He'll
one
he'll
here.
answer it by saying it was fucking awful. His bad memories
Yeah, it's like this
decimated my blood
cheeky
axes.
bastard. I travel to a different country, show up, and I get my arse kicked. And doesn't even make tea. Doesn't have any biscuits. I'm like, what type of hospitality is this? You know what I mean? I have a question here from Philip Simpson, and he asks, Gorkanaut or Morkanaut? Good tactics for death skulls. He wants good tactics for death skulls or on Gorkanaut or Morkanaut. So it's two and one here.
Well, in answer to the first question, I've already answered that by getting the kit and building a Gorkanaut out of it. So yeah, I would say Gorkanaut, but that's not discounting the Morkanaut because I do want one of those as well. Morkanaut's obviously the more tanky one, and you can equip it with the custom force fields. You don't have to have a big mech babysitting it. And it's got sort of kitted out for anti-tank, but it also gets less attacks in combat. And I just think the Gorkanaut is a lot more killy. But like I say, you've got to babysit it with a big mech with KFF if you really want the thing to stay alive for more than one turn. But yeah, Gorkanaut for me.
I would say it depends on the scenario because I've actually used the Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut in the past 4 battles I've had, and I found that if you're taking the Morkanaut, you're going to use it as walking flare support. But when I was playing the Knights, I used the Morkanaut, and the custom force field that was generating helped with saves with the boys units that were around it, and its shots were good at getting into the Knights. It died eventually when I tried to charge a knife from Overwatch. I only had 2 wounds left, but still, it made a good show of itself. So if you're looking for walking flare support and cover, the Morkanaut's good. But the Gorkanaut, like you said, has more close combat attacks. So what I like to do with the Gorkanaut is I like to teleport it in right beside your enemy.
I'm exactly the same.
And then use the stratagem where you get like 3d6 charge. So you'll drop in, shoot the absolute snot out of something, and then just smash into them. So the Gorkanaut's good in that regard. You know what I mean? So it depends on the scenario.
It spits out a beautiful amount of DACA now as
like
well.
18 with its Death
18
Storm.
shots from the Death Storm mega shooter, and then another 12 from all its big shooters. So you get 30 shots there. Plus you got a couple of rockets and a Scorcher, and
bits and pieces. Nice.
And a lot of attacks in close combat as well.
You can do 3 attacks for every attack and stuff. So it can, if the Gorkanaut hits you, it can do a shitload of damage, man. So it just depends. Do you want to get stuck in, or do you want fire support as your boys are walking up the table and cover? You know.
Well, the Orky answer is both, isn't it? The Orky answer is both. Have a Morkanaut sitting next to a Gorkanaut. So the Gorkanaut is benefiting from the KFF bubble, so they have to shoot at the Morkanaut first. That's going to absorb all the fire. So both. That's my answer. What was the other part of the question?
What good tactics for death skulls?
Well, I'm unfamiliar. I've read obviously the rules for the Death Skulls, the clan cultures and stuff. I've not played as them or used attachments of them, but there is some seriously good stuff in there for Death Skulls. I think Death Skulls are tactically probably one of the stronger clans in the Codex. They've got a really good sort of all-round ability. No real weaknesses. Where you get a lot of re-rolls with them, and then you're also getting invulnerable saves.
Yeah, so it's
It
like
is invulnerable saves. Isn't
they
it?
get the 6+ invulnerable save. In addition, they can
Yes.
reroll a single hit roll, a single wound roll, and a single damage roll for each unit. It's culture each time it shoots
Yeah,
or fights.
that's going to
Handy.
be nice. Yeah, that's going to
That's
make
really
them a
handy.
very. It represents their luck really well. So I think just tactically they're. And do they also get? Is it the Death Skulls that get the Zogoth rule
Yeah,
for
this is
all
ours.
infantry
Log
units?
off for
Yeah,
infantry. So that's good. So they're good at claiming tactical objectives and stuff.
oh, definitely. I think if you want a good, reliable orc army, Death Skulls are the way to go because the amount of rerolls you're going to get during the game, and rerolling one dice doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're rerolling one dice for multiple different things across multiple units, and especially when your war boss gets into combat and stuff, that one attack he's missed, being able to reroll that and rerolling damage as well, like
Or shots. Yeah, exactly.
that is
It's
really
going to
good.
save you
And
command points. And you're going to get multiple of them. So it's per unit. So you're going to be getting rerolls. You're going to get a shitload of rerolls. So I think you're right. I think Death Skulls are good all rounders. And with the new sort of missions that are coming out in the compendium for this year, they seem to be a lot more orientated around claiming objectives and focusing on objectives. Because, yeah,
yes,
there's less emphasis on destroying each other or just trying to table each other. So I think Death Skulls, you could probably see a lot more Death Skulls on the table in regards to their
yeah,
units.
objective-driven games with Death Skulls are going to be very hard for the opponent. When every single infantry unit can claim objectives and get the objectives secured buff, that's really nice. Especially because quite often the later stages of the game, you can find all your troop units, annihilated. All your grots and boys have been shot off the board, but having things like mega Nobz with objectives secured is very nice indeed.
Yeah, and the 6+ invulnerable save, not to be sniffed at. They're good all rounders. They are a good, solid clan. I'll say that. They're definitely good all rounders.
So we haven't really answered that question, really, because we haven't really played with them. So
I haven't
guess
had a chance.
yeah.
No, I've only tried Blood Axes, Bad Moons, and Evil Suns so far.
I guess using things like a tactic I probably would go for is things like Death Skull Commandos would be quite good actually, because they could get them where you wanted, claim objectives, and you've got objectives secured on there.
Well, I don't know, because do commandos not have Blood Axe specifically in their keywords? I think they are Blood
No,
Axe commandos, are they not?
no, they can be used. Any army can make use of commandos. I hear pages turning, so I'll see if you can
Oh, you're right. Infantry
confirm or
commandos.
correct.
It's not. Damn, I must been thinking of Snickra using them.
Yeah, Snickrot obviously makes them better, doesn't he? But obviously, Blood Axe Commandos are very good. But yeah, I think Death Skull Commandos would be very nice.
I was right. It's Snickrot's the Blood Axe, but yeah, Death Skull Commandos is never even thought of that. I just assumed they were all blood. That's actually
So
that's not bad. 6+ invulnerable save.
Yeah, so I think objective missions, but even non-objective missions, I think, like I say, I think it doesn't jump out at you as much as sort of Bad Moons re-rolling ones or Goths getting exploding sixes in combat. I think it's Death Skulls just get a lot of little perks that are so much better than they first sound. They don't sound very exciting or very powerful, but I think as we see through tournaments and games, I think we'll see Death Skulls as being one of the stronger clans in the book, definitely.
I think you're right. I think they're sort of a hidden gem that's been overlooked at the moment. I won't truly know until I get a game in with them at some stage. But yeah, I think you're right. They're good all rounders by the sounds of it.
Plus, they got Mad Dog Grotznik, who's just cool.
Yeah,
And,
it's a cool miniature.
He's a pretty beefy character as well. I think he's got some pretty good rules.
Any more questions? Have we reached the end of our questions?
I have no more. Have we reached the end of all of them? I think we have. And
all out of questions myself.
I think we're probably also reaching the hour mark as well, aren't we?
We're just over. Yeah, we're just over.
Just over.
Well, not too long. Within reason.
But yeah, there you go, guys. So there's our Q&A. We've been promising it since episode 1 of the Bald Nobz podcast. 8 episodes later, we've finally done it. So yeah, I guess get your questions in below for a future Q&A, because it's been quite good fun, actually. I've been enjoying answering these questions. And yeah, get some more in. And in maybe episode 16, we'll do this all over again.
Hopefully sooner than then. Hopefully sooner.
Yeah.
Then. But yeah, it's good fun. Throw in the questions, and yeah, we'll answer whatever
Yeah, ask us anything. Anything.
Ask us anything. We'll decide what we'll answer.
Yes. Yeah, no guarantees on if we'll answer it or not.
That's Scarnier saying goodbye until the next episode.
And that's 6 Plus Stevo signing out.